life is gonna send you the things that you've asked for, but in the most unexpected ways. Which is exactly why the idea of and the practice of being present or presence is so crucial and important. I was just with one of my friends the other day, and we were doing some tarot readings for each other, just exchanging knowledge and information. Like, it was so grounding, and all I felt in that time was just appreciation for life, for my friend, and just being there in that moment. And one of the things we were discussing was the different clairs. Clairs, I guess it's the subset of spiritual powers or gifts that one has. For instance, clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyance. If you're interested in this, definitely look it up. I don't remember all the definitions off the top of my head, of course, but there's all of our gifts that we have as humans, or all the gifts that we have from our soul in this human body, usually are different for different people, and the way they manifest is diverse. But in order to access these gifts and truly realize them, so you can live a life that's more authentic and connected to your essence, rather than the stuff that you've been programmed with from external society and education systems, is to be present. Because if you're not present, if you're not in tune with yourself, you're not gonna have the awareness to recognize the gifts that life has sent you and the gifts that you're born with. I meant to say that experiences that life is sending your way and the gifts that you're born with. In order to recognize them, in order to practice them, you have to be present. You have to be aware that you're something that's beyond just this physical body. You're not just a human. That's one of the biggest lies that we've been sold in this world, that or system that we built, that every life is insignificant. When you think about it, life in itself inherently is so special, because our universe is so vast, and yet the only evidence of life that we have right now is on Earth. So out of the billions of planets, I don't know, gazillions of planets, all these billions of galaxies, we only know of one place. Also, like, yeah, of course, we're limited by our technology and stuff, but we're thinking about life outside of Earth. And then you add in the thing about how our search for life beyond Earth is very much rooted in Earth-centric assumptions, that life is going to look exactly the same that it does here on Earth, or somewhat similar, carbon-based, etc. Like, of course there's those constraints, but what I was really trying to drive here is the idea of how life is very special. Us being alive in this moment in itself is such a gift, and we like to pretend that we have a future, but the truth is that future is never guaranteed or promised. The fuck, yo? Excuse me, guys. That was someone driving crazy. Sorry. I forgive. Sometimes I'm driving and shit happens, and I'm like, yo, this is why sometimes I'm afraid of driving. It's not because I'm a bad driver, it's because I know some people are gonna do some crazy shit, and then I'm gonna be the one that's getting stuck because of their actions. But anyways, even then, coming back to what we were just discussing and bringing yourself back to the present, this was a classic example, honestly, of how life's external duties, responsibilities, like things around us, pull us away from our internal self and pull us away from our true essence, which is love. And in that moment, I got upset. I'm like, oh my God, like this person's trying to cut me and go right in front of me. When, is it really that big of a deal? Not really, no. And how fast you're able to recognize these things in the moment and then bring yourself back, that's really the powerful practice that you should consider aiming for, or consider practicing over the course of time. Life, it's very special. You never know what's going to happen, and that's why you have to be appreciative of every experience that you're getting in life, whether that be good or bad, because each is there to teach you something more about yourself. And that is one of the biggest reasons to live life, or one of my personal purposes in life, is self-realization, learning more about myself through the external world, through the external experiences, making realizations about the soul, self, and how to actually spread that kind of information throughout my body so it's internalized, but then also to you, and sharing it with the world. It's just so fascinating. And I'm getting my PhD in planetary sciences, which is like a very different field, and it's very concrete, very, in some ways, rigid, that you're supposed to be grounded in scientific evidence and whatnot. But the thing is, I'm a crazy mix, dude. I'm a little woo-woo, and as much as I like science, spirituality, and this world of consciousness, this area of pensive thinking, solitude, connecting with something that's bigger than just humans or the things that we do, is also something that so lures is a good word, but allures is also a better word here. Like, it really just captivates me, and I'm realizing, sometimes I feel like I'm so behind in life, like I'm not learning fast, and in that moment I don't recognize that I'm only 24. I'm turning 25 in a month, less than a month now, and yet that's still so young. If I just continue to put in my best effort, continue to keep on learning, in a few years, in a decade, in 2 decades, like, I can't even begin to fathom what kind of a life I could live and what I'm going to be sharing with the world. Like, it's so fascinating. But I want you to think about yourself in that way too. Like, it doesn't truly in the long run matter where you are now, as long as you're willing to take the steps, to make the changes, to step into a higher version of yourself and really bring that identity into being. Like, you don't just pick up habits, bro. Like, you become the type of person that does those habits naturally. That's really the goal, is embodying that higher version. And on some level, it starts with forcing yourself to do the right habits. That's how you start. Slowly, it becomes a part of your habitual routine, and you're integrating it with your everyday life. That then becomes your being. It becomes your existence. Like, I don't know how to put. I'm trying to think the best words. Meditation, like, when I first started, I would have to force myself to meditate every day, and that's how it started to become a routine, a habit. That's something I would be able to stick to. And since and that was back in 2022. That's when I really started to consistently meditate. And then phases, on and off phases, came along, but I would say, like, over the past year specifically, the consistency has been so strong that now I don't have to think about, like, oh, I need to schedule time for meditation. Like, no, it just comes up at some point during the day. Sometimes I do it right before I sleep. Sometimes I do it right after I wake up. Recently, I've been experimenting with all 3 of them, or all of these 2, and also adding in a meditation during the day, and then taking like a 30-minute hour nap afterwards. Which, a lot of these things are also privileges that I have. Like, I have the time to dedicate to this. And I'm also just so appreciative of that, because back when I was younger, it was mostly survival mode, or even just like a few years ago, I was in survival mode. Like, I wasn't thinking about using my time to relax, like, not just relax, but really rest, and focusing and tuning in with myself in a way that's completely different than movement, journaling, writing, even talking out loud like this. There's something, your spirit lies between those moments of silences that you have between the thoughts. So our brains are constantly running from one thought to another, to another, to another, mostly tugged away by the things that we do in this material world. So whether that be school stuff, work stuff, family stuff, whatever it is, all these different things are pulling our attention in different ways, and then we're jumping from one thought to another, to another, to another. But there's these sliver of moments within this jump of one thought to another, and that's where your mind, that's where your spirit lives. That's who you truly are. That's your true essence, that stillness. And the practice of meditation is to build up to that stillness and be able to enter that stillness point, but also really live in it. So you're one with the spirit, and you're beyond your mind, you're beyond just your body now. That has been the focus and learning for me recently, that I'm trying to integrate more in my life. But if I'm being honest, bro, I'm fucking human, and I'm so young, and I still make so many mistakes. I slip up. You all saw me on the video, the guy in the car tried to push through. But like I said, it's not about being perfect. It's about the practice and doing the repetitions of bringing yourself back to the moment, to that stillness, so that you can stay in union with your soul and derive your actions from that natural essence, rather than deriving actions from the expectations that you've built in your mind from the external world and external societal programming and educations. With that said, I will wrap this video up here. So impromptu. I was just driving back home, and I just pulled out my phone. I'm like, these thoughts are in my mind right now. I kind of wanna. I don't know if you all saw that on camera, but the bike, motorcycle, just literally between two cars. No comments on that. Like I said, bring yourself back. No judgments for others. Love is your natural essence, and that's how you have to live. It's a state of being, not something that you only do when you feel like it. Now that's a great place to wrap up the video. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, you got something out of it. If you made it this far into it, I appreciate you tuning in. Share it with someone that you feel like would want to hear this kind of stuff, and I'll catch you in the next one.